This lesson, we're going to talk about reducing rational expressions to lowest term. So, the last lesson, we talk about the fraction, right? So, rational will be the same thing as fractions. It's just that because you have a variable, you need to make sure you wanted to rewrite them with the factor form, right? You have to have a factor forms to reduce, which mean multiplications. So if you're looking at the first example right here, you have all these additions. So this is not a factor. So what you need to do is you wanted to rewrite this into the factor form first, and then find the common factor, get rid of it, numerator versus denominator, right? And then that's how you're going to reduce them. So I will start with factoring the numerator. You have three terms. X times x, x squared, and this one right here saying same sign. The same sign must be positive. Remember that, right? From the factoring. Multiplying to become 4, added to become 4. That's going to be 2. Do the same thing on denominator. Factor trinomial. X times x is x squared. Same sign. That same sign is addition. 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So that's how you're going to factor each numerator and denominator. And if you see common, and look like this is common, right? This is common. So cancel that. Right. And then what's left over? X plus 2 from the numerator and x plus 1 from the denominator. So that's how you're going to reduce. So always make sure you wanted to factor first, so that you will have all multiplications. So this numerator look like two terms. Two term I can use group factoring. Greatest common factor and difference of square, right? So look like I have a common factor, greatest common factor, x squared. And then I have x plus 5 remains. Denominator looks like I have greatest common factor, x. And I have x plus 1 remains. And look like the common between this numerator and denominator will be just x, right? I have 1x, cancel out that square, give you only 1x remains. So then I have x times x plus 5 remains from the numerator. Denominator just x plus 1, right? Make sure these two will not cancel out each other. Why not? Because you have addition. This is not common factor, common multiplication. This is additions. So these two cannot cancel out each other. And that's very common mistake that I see when you're reducing the rational expressions. Had to be always multiplications versus multiplications. Multiplications versus multiplications, right? Order to reduce or get rid of the common. Let's look at the next one. This one, I have a common factor, x. Denominator, common factor, x, which will give me x minus 2 remains. I noticed that the numerator will be difference of cube because 8 is 2 cubed. So let me factor one more step. When I factor this numerator, it will become x minus 2 times x squared plus 2x plus 4 remains. And denominator was x times x minus 2. So now common factor, common multiplication will be x and x minus 2, x minus 2. So what's left over? You have x squared plus 2x plus 4 over 1 remaining. But then when denominator is 1, you don't really need to write that down, right? So that will be your solutions. Let's look at one more. So this one right here, I need to factor. In order for me to factor, I like to write it in a standard form. Look like the numerator will be negative x squared minus x plus 6 over the denominator I have. But then I noticed that in order to use factoring trinomial, your leading coefficient have to be positive, and this look like negative. So that's the first thing I wanted to factor out, negative. So I will make my first term positive. So this become plus then, and that will be negative, right? Now I can factor trinomial on the numerator. X times x, different sign. One is positive, one is negative, right? This one means different sign, right? So that will be 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 plus negative 2 is positive 1. So that will be the factor. This one, factoring trinomial again, x times x, different sign. One is negative, one is positive. It should be 4 times 3, and 4 should be negative. And look like you're going to have common factor, x plus 3, x plus 3, right? So this gives you what's left over? Negative x minus 2 over x minus 4. So this could be one solution, but you can distribute this negative and say negative x plus 2 over x minus 4 if you don't want to use the parenthesis. Or you can also do, I wanted to say or, because this is the right solutions. You don't need to go any further if you don't want to. Or you can put that negative in front of fractions so that you don't need to write the parenthesis numerator. Right? You can also do distributing that negative on denominator if you want to. Right? So it will be x minus 2 over negative x plus 4. This is going to be all same solutions. Depends on where you put this negative, right? Negative numerator or negative distributing numerator, negative in front of fractions, negative on denominator, right? It will give you all same. I wanted to do one more example in this section is evaluating. We did evaluating with the linear or quadratic before. This one is going to be evaluating in our rational expressions. When let's say evaluate, it means whatever the value it's given, they want you to replace it into all the variable you see, right? No matter what shape of expressions you have. So this one, instead of x, it will be 2. So just remember that, right? So when it's 2 square minus 9, and simplify that, right? 2 square is 4, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1. 2 square is another 4, And when you simplified, positive, negative, same number cancel out each other. So numerator is 1, denominator will be negative 5. So this can be your solutions. Like other ones, you can put negative 1 over 5 or negative 1 over 5. It will be all same solutions if you wanted to change it into different form. I'm going to try one more with negative number because negative with the square, sometimes people make a mistake. So let's replace it. Negative 1, make sure whole x is square. So you wanted to put the parentheses to make sure the sign will be also get square. Negative 1 plus 1 over negative 1 square minus 9. You're squaring the sign negative, so it will become positive. Negative 2 times negative 1 will be positive 2 plus 1 over positive 1 minus 9. This gives you, this is all positive, so add them up. It will give you 4 on the numerator. Denominator will be negative 8. You can reduce it. 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 8 two times. So your solution will be negative 1 over 2.